Hello everyone, this is Juliana and today I have a project share for you. It's a journal, it's an actual altered book journal that I made a while back and now it will be available on my Etsy store, JujuBeeLove. So let's get started. So I used a book, a children's arithmetic book. It says Walton's Illustrative Practical Arithmetic, and it's from the 1800s, the late 1800s. When I get inside, I'll be able to give you the exact date. So before I begin, let me tell you the measurements. It's 4.5 by 7.5 inches. The spine is 1.5 inches. There are 10 signatures, which I know sounds like a lot, but this is a Coptic stitch binding. It's got 90 pages, and if you count back and forth the pages, each side, it's 180 sides. So I'm going to get in a little closer so you can see this really lovely image on the front of children reading a book. It was a book meant for children to study arithmetic, and it's this lovely blue color. I've used to bind it these yellow eyelets, which I thought went really well with the blue. It's sort of, I don't know what kind of blue it is, but it's really lovely. I put on this wooden veneer flower on the front, and I'll show you the side, the Coptic stitch binding. All of the signatures have been reinforced with a yellow toned washi tape, so it contrasts really nicely with the Coptic stitch binding. And then on the back of the book, there is another wooden veneer that I have glued on, and it's nice and strongly adhered. And below that are vintage tickets that say US Toy. And I've stitched it with embroidery floss that I've waxed myself. And the binding is just a simple eyelet binding with sari silk that has also been hand dyed this golden yellow color. So there is a lot of stitching in the book, something that I really love about junk journals, and which I enjoy doing. So I tried to stick to, hold on a second, let me prop this up better. I've tried to stick to the vintage children arithmetic theme. I decoupaged pages from the book with numbers on it, and if you look closely, I stenciled in numbers across the inside cover. There's this key hanging off of the sari silk, and here is the date. I hope you can read that. It says 1871, and it says the illustrative arithmetic by a natural method. So the pages were very frail, and at times I had to use washi tape. So the lovely thing about Coptic stitch binding is that the book does, when you open it, it does stay open really nicely, so it's perfect for writing. So let's move right along. Coffee stained paper, some with tea, with this reddish tea that Liesl uses, and she has a account on Instagram called forgive me, Liesl, did you just say paper or something like that? She makes beautiful journals. Anyway, this is from a vintage school book, an illustration, and I've sewn in different children's books, things like this little boy wearing a jacket. And I tried to keep to sewing with blue thread. Here's one side of an envelope that I've made out of a map. Here is from an anatomy book. This is an actual image that I've adhered to the paper of a teacher with her students from a Victorian book. And I do try to use as much vintage ephemera as possible in my books. But sometimes I scan the images that I own myself and put them in, or I found them online. So here's a pocket with this adorable little girl here studying. There's a raccoon on this pocket. And inside this pocket I have 3 little tags. And this very mischievous boy with a hen with a funny look on his face. And these slip right back in here. This is, I guess, the second signature. And I've used a mixture of different scrapbook papers throughout, which is normally what I do. So here is a tuck spot, a corner tuck with a paper ruffle, and these sweet little boys going off to school. And I've used some yellow pages in between. And you can see more markings. I love those. And here is another tuck spot. I don't have something to show you let me pull out this little tuck spot right here from pages from the book, a little banner, and more illustrations from a Victorian book. Here is a side loading pocket with some messy stitching, and this is an image from the book itself on a tag, and I just love this image of the porcupines. I just had to put it in there. So arithmetic, music sheet. This is a vintage Get Well notice, sick little bunny, and some music paper, and acetate number 3 sewn to the page, another pocket with a zebra on it, and this is this lovely image that I own of a little boy holding a hula hoop, excuse me, I guess with his mother. I bought this in Rome. It's not the original, but it's a nice scan. And here is from a golden book about counting numbers. Little girl bending over to buckle her shoe. Another piece of ephemera from a children's book on counting. Dictionary paper. A little tab up here that says trig. And this just says 7, 8, lay them straight. 11, 12, dig and delve. And here's another image from the actual book. This is this amazing it's modern. It's a Russian stamp, and I couldn't resist but put it on. I had some mail from Russia, and so I sewed that onto the scrapbook paper. Here is another tuck with a paper ruffle, and this, again, these so many sweet images of children. He looks like he's going off to school. He's got his lunch bag. If you're a fan of children's book ephemera and any children's ephemera, you will like this book. This is a flashcard, ledger paper from 1924. This folds out. Blank paper for you to write on. The juggler. Another pocket with a donkey. And I own this lovely image of these Victorian girls, and these two girls on the end, they must be twins, and I didn't realize that until I purchased the photograph. This is a vintage playing card for children. Here are some bank receipts from 1939. More blank space to write in. Another image from a golden book of a child counting. Scrapbook paper is very sweet. Another stamped tab here that says maths, as they say in the UK. And here's a map of a vintage map of the United States. Another tuck spot with ruffles and two little girls on their way to school. Another tab. Little sheep. I have a feeling there are more pockets than I said there were. There must be at least 4 pockets in this journal. Anyway, this is a little sweet baby. Sweet baby. If you can see her. And this is about addition from the actual book, the arithmetic book. This is a Russian math book for children. This is an illustration from a book from the 1800s. It just says England. I really like the images and wanted to include it in the book. This is the other side of the arithmetic Russian book. It's Soviet, I believe. And here is another side-loading pocket with little schoolboys. I hope you can see that. And a multiplication. What is this? A table of multiplication, excuse me. Numbers, it's a vintage or old children's playing card of a parrot. Again, some more little kids, probably off to school. And this is another tuck spot. This is this very unusual picture of a little boy dressed up from the turn of the century. This says calculus. This is an actual, it's written in pen, and it's calculations. I think it might be calculus, and it belonged to my father-in-law, and this is very old. I would say it's probably from the 20s. And this beautiful illustration of this little girl as a tuck spot. And we got another journal card, little girl painting. And what would a junk journal be without a bingo card? Well, it has numbers on it, so I thought it worked. So I think that's it. And then on the back is just a little label. It says handmade for you with my signature and the date. I made it back in April. More decoupaged, collaged numbers, and a banana split stamp. And this is the back. And so if you have any questions about this journal, please feel free to ask below. And please come and check out my new store. I have a lot of fun things to offer. I'm going to be hopefully having some ephemera packs or just unusual ephemera that I've collected, along with jewelry. So that is it. That's what I've got for you today. So take care, and thanks for watching. Bye.